more than that.
It was more than that. It started off like I'd suffered with mental health problems my whole life, but I didn't know what it was because I never had no education on the matter. And it wasn't until after the Klitschko fight, a very massive high, then I had to have a even worse low, lowest low that anyone could ever have. I'd wake up and I think, why did I wake up this morning? This is coming from a man who had everything: money, fame, glory, titles, a wife, a family, kids, everything. But I felt as if I had nothing. I felt there was an empty, gaping hole that was just filled with gloom and doom, and it just was one bad thing happened to me after another. Within 7 days, the IBF stripped me of their title because I couldn't defend against Klitschko, who was a nobody, because I had a rematch clause with Vladimir. But the IBF wasn't expecting me to beat Vladimir, so they chucked that clause in there anyway, thinking Vladimir's going to win and he'll defend against Klitschko. But because I won, they stripped me of the belt, which was none of my reason.
Within 7 days of the fight?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How can they require you to fight within 7 days?
No, they didn't, but they required me to go into negotiations.
And you didn't. So just not going into negotiations to sign, they stripped you within 7 days?
Yeah, but they knew I couldn't go into negotiations because of a rematch clause.
Boxing's a dirty business.
So I was stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. That was one belt gone. And then my team and Klitschko's team were carrying on about where the fight was going to be. It was going to be on a cruise ship in Dubai. It was going to be here. It was going to be there. Time was dragging on.
A cruise ship?
A cruise ship, yeah. There was some Arab billionaire who wanted to make this fight an exclusive fight for him and his buddies.
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
Seriously. This fight was heading for a cruise ship.
That fucking oil money, man.
They've got some money,
Christ.
but listen, if they can afford it, do it. That's what I say.
That would have been the most hilarious scenario ever for a world heavyweight title fight. A bunch of Arab billionaires on a cruise ship. Wow. So they strip you of the IBF belt. You go in a negotiation with Klitschko for the rematch. How come the rematch never happened?
The rematch didn't happen initially because I went over on my ankle in training. I was in Holland training for the rematch, and I was running up on heavy terrain, and I went over on my ankle, sprained my ankle quite badly, so we had to postpone the fight. And but by the time I was off, like say 3 months, getting this ankle right and all that, I just didn't want to do it anymore, if you know what I mean. I didn't have the desire. The fire wasn't burning no longer to fight. And I was suffering with depression the whole time. Even in training camp, before I sprained my ankle, I was depressed as depressed could be on a daily basis. And I'm thinking, why am I feeling like this? I don't have no reason to feel like it. Some people will say, oh, well, it's attention seeking or whatever. But unless you've experienced what I'm saying, it's sort of impossible to understand where I've been or where I've come from. And it just went from bad to worse. I hit the drink heavily on a daily basis. I hit the drugs. I was out all night partying with women of the night and not coming home. And, you know, I didn't care about boxing. I didn't care about living. I just wanted to die. And I was going to have a good time doing it while I was doing it. I used to drink and take drugs to get away from the depression, because when I was drunk or high, then I wouldn't think about being depressed. I thought about I'm a boxing champion, or I feel great. But as we know, when the drink wears off, it only leaves you with a bad hangover and feeling even more depressed. For someone who suffers with mental health, the worst thing we can do to escape it is take drugs or alcohol.
But yeah, that's the most common approach.
And that's the common approach because we don't know, because it's not spoke about. And this is where I want to spread the word on mental health, so when other people are in this position in the future, they know where to go and they know what to do, because there's a blueprint.
Well, kudos to you for doing that, because so few people have the courage to talk about their struggles when they go through that, because it seems like a weakness.
Yeah.
You know, it's very powerful that you're willing to do that and just be open and honest about it. There's a few people out there that are doing that now. You know, our friend Mauro Ranallo, he's gone through some serious mental health issues, and he's very open about it and talks about it quite a bit. Now, when you were training for the first Klitschko fight, did you have it then?
Not really, no. But I was focused on what I wanted to do, and that was beat Vladimir Klitschko. And I believe when you've got a goal in mind from being a child all your life, and you do that, then I was lost. I was almost like I didn't have anything more to do in my life. Although I could have carried on and defended the belts and whatever, I wasn't really interested in doing that. I'd beat the man I'd always wanted to do. Because when I was an amateur boxer, I used to watch Vladimir Klitschko on TV as a world heavyweight champion. And I always aimed, he was my target to beat. And when I finally beat him, it was like climbing my Everest. I didn't have anything more to prove. And the fire was dead. There was no fire. I was forcing myself to fight. And I always said, I didn't want to be one of those people who just fought for money. Because there's plenty of people with money in the world, plenty of them. But who knows them? And the reasons for me fighting, it's not for money or for belts or glory. I fight because I don't know anything else. I've always been a fighter, from being born to being 30 years old now. It's all I love to do. I don't have any other passion. I've looked. The Lord knows I've looked. And if I had anything else I was good at or I could do, I'd be doing it. I tried retirement. I was 27. I retired only the second man in boxing heavyweight history to retire unbeaten as a world champion like Rocky Marciano before me. But it wasn't enough. I was like, I am lost without this fight game. I tried golfing. I tried clay pigeon shooting. I tried 4x4ing. I tried going to strip clubs, bars, restaurants, everything. And it was just like I had this emptiness inside where I just wanted to fight.